By Azura, it's you! You're not the grand champion, but you're here, and that's what matters. I have been happily digging around and very joyously investigated the deepest and darkest secrets of these would-be champions that fill up the arena like lambs to the slaughter. I always knew the grand champion was the best of the best, and now I'm here to prove it. Let's see those contestants. No name, no introduction. The very first rival that the grand champion faces is perhaps the most mysterious. Whoever she is, she's either too peasantry to be of note or she's intentionally hidden her identity. All we know is that she's a wood elf and uses a sword and shield. Either way, the grand champion makes quick work of this yellow team zealot. The best way to end a species is to start with the youngest, after all. Another no-name fights a fruitless battle against the almighty grand champion. This time, it's a man, a Breton man who also favors the sword and board. No amount of blocking can save you from your inevitable demise. The first advancement match that the grand champion undertakes is against a Naven-Sargonian archer. Just like all of the other pick dogs, we know very little, except that this one has a bow instead of the sword and shields that we've already seen. Are they all just worthless corpses, or is something else at play here?
Continue the sermon, you Enwa.
As it turns out, brawlers hit the ground the same way pit dogs do when faced against the grand champion. This node is big and tough and hateful against Argonians. Maybe they're the reason he's here fighting's first scrap coin. He wields an axe and shields, but still crumbles before the grand champion's combat of choice. The next fight is the first bending of the rules that we see. Due to Wood Elf sisters being twins, they're allowed to fight together. If the grand champion had a twin, we would need 2 arenas to keep up with them. But, as it turns out, sisters that live together die together. The next brawler to get bloodied by the blade of the grand champion is a Khajiit that prefers the steel and heft to his kin's traditional approach, almost as if he was raised under the kin of an orc. Despite this cat's extra durability, he bleeds like the rest when faced against the grand champion. This Red Guard is the first bloodletter to truly earn their name when pitted against the grand champion. He's known for his versatility in that he can use a mace or a sword, but that pales in comparison to the grand champion's power of choice. The next bloodletter wears heavy armor, but swings with a short sword, meaning they are slow and have no reach, so that's an interesting strategy. They must not teach Bretons proper battle strategy for entertainment purposes. The third bloodletter of the yellow team is a Dunmer, and the grand champion puts him right back where all Dunmer belong. The ground. The yellow team actually presents someone worth presenting. The owner and wielder of Shimmerstrike claims an impressive winning streak. But the blood on his hands are mere puddles in the wake of the grand champion. This wood elf must have slain hundreds back in his homeland based on how hungrily he slashes his favorite dagger. Too bad fate punished him for his crimes by pitting him against the grand champion. This yellow team's Myrmidon seems awfully familiar to the pit dogs of here. No name, no information apart from race. Using the sword and shield, dies by the hand of the grand champion. So many similarities.
Remind them to subscribe to my sermons.
For 2 Myrmidons to face off in an advancement match, they both must have killed at least 12 opponents. That's 24 deaths to get here. And while the orc may be mighty, he marks a 25th death in one of the many counts of the grand champion's footfalls. The first warrior, or shall we say body, that steps in the way of the grand champion's path is adored with a long sword and shield. How interesting. How familiar. It's like someone is taking hold of the yellow team and driving them down the same path, thinking the same way, dying by the same hand. The yellow team's second warrior is actually no warrior at all, but a mage. I find magic to be rather dishonest. In fact, there's only one kind of magic I respect, and I bet you'll never guess which one it is. Alright, fine, you got me. It's whatever magic type the grand champion is using, which is clearly stronger than the yellow team warriors. I dare say I have so much respect for this final warrior. Her bloodlust carries beyond the bounds of the arena. In fact, some say she's the blood-crazed sister of Agronak Gro Malog and was kicked from the Dark Brotherhood for her excessive and unnecessary violence. Or perhaps there's just a rumor I'm trying to start. That's for you to decide, my dear audience. The first gladiator fight pitted against our esteemed Grand Champion is the Yellow Team's attempt at pulling a fast one. They enlist 3 fighters that are prisoners from Black Marsh, imprisoned for heinous acts and promised freedom at the exchange of the Grand Champion's life. This match absolutely disgusts me. Show me the resume of these prisoners. I need to know their body count, because if they do not match the requirements of a gladiator, then this match is nothing but a slap in the face. There's no integrity these days, I tell you. The next Yellow Team member to die is another heavy armored Khajiit. The Yellow Team members are all so similar, it's like they're all under one mind. One single thought controlling many bodies, and all of which can be bloodied by the Grand Champion. This Breton,
He looks like a bit of a dandy.
but unfortunately they stand in the way of the Grand Champion and their next title. This Breton also,
But he's deadly with a blade.
just as much as when he's a corpse versus when he's alive, but his body marks the Grand Champion's ascension to hero. Do you know what it takes to be a hero? I certainly do. 21 bodies. The Grand Champion faces off against a foe with a bit of history. This Imperial is an important contender, one that has a life much different than the rest. From the moment he was a boy, he wanted to serve his kingdom and protect it from evil. He wanted to be a member of the Blades. And so he did just that, training and dedicating his entire life to becoming one of the Blades and protecting the Emperor of Tamriel. Then the Mythic Dawn attacked and killed Emperor Uriel Septim and his bloodline, causing immense guilt and torment to swell up within the Yellow Hero. He left his post as a Blades, and taking with him his tarnished sword, battered helm, and broken devotion, he began beating beggars in the streets. But that wasn't enough. This hero was hungry for more, and he found it right here in the arena. Not long after the murder of Uriel, this hero has killed upwards of 20 fighters from the enemy team, only to find his own end at the hands of the Grand Champion. May this hero find his emperor on the other side. Would you like to know this High Elf mage's story? I can tell it to you if you like. He bears an enchanted shield that belonged to his father, a mage that specialized in protection magic. This High Elf hero was raised with the expectations to follow in his father's footsteps, and together they would push the boundaries of protection magics. His father wished to do this for the benefit of all Altmer, but hundreds of years of pressure caused something in this hero to snap. He was no longer interested in his father's magic. Instead, he invested all his time and will learning how to destroy with magic. And he did exactly that, burning his family home to the ground. Within those ashes, he found his father's enchantments engraved on a shield, and decided to take it with him, so that only he would ever be blessed by the magic his father created. With all that rage and all that knowledge, he made a fine hero, but he is no Grand Champion. The Yellow Team Champion steps up to defend her title. With her, 2 lower-tiered fighters eagerly await their chance at their own advancements. But they don't know what the Yellow Champion knows. She's seen the Grand Champion fight every match with cold calculation and unrelenting ferocity. Ever since they stepped their perfect feet into the blood pit, she knows that she will probably die, even with the rookies fighting with her. But there's also the chance she could use them as fodder. Maybe them alone would appease the bloodlust in the Grand Champion. But no. She knows better. She remembers what that Grand Champion did to those Argonian prisoners, and she knows that this marks the end of her own long and bloody journey. In her heart, she couldn't be happier. To die at the hands of someone as monstrous as the Grand Champion is like a dream come true. In her final moments, she realizes where she went wrong. Following the indoctrination of her membership in the Yellow Team, she was granted a private audience with the false idol known as the Grey Prince. There, the son of a vampire used his innate abilities to charm the Yellow Champion into serving him and leading the training of all new followers to fight him and for him. And so the Yellow Champion laid down her twin axes in favor of fighting with a sword and shield, just like the Grey Prince. She then instilled this fighting style in her training, slowly taking over the Yellow team to become an army of brainwashed vampire spawn, all loyal to the Grey Prince. But all that is over now. The false idol faces the true Grand Champion. The Grand Champion faces his final foe before completing his destiny. The Grey Prince, false idol that he is, still accepts the Grand Champion's challenge. Despite him being a half-undead, the mastermind of the Yellow Team's secrets still must maintain a faced nobility in order to keep status. It's that naive pride and desire for fame that becomes his ultimate downfall. The Grand Champion steps forth with a new name for the crowd to scream with glee: the Divine Adventure. Yes, this will do nicely, as so many lives need to be avenged.
City Arena. Believe it or not, someone has actually challenged the unbeatable Arena Grand Champion. But who, you might ask, could possibly be brave enough to face such a fearless foe? Who could wrest the title from our famed Grey Prince? Good people, I give you the blue team's latest champion, a warrior of skill, strength, and determination. Behold, the Divine Avenger! Lords and ladies, citizens of the Empire, I give you the battle of the ages. Combatants, steel yourselves. Lower the gates.
Let's get this over with. I'm just warming up, you pathetic worm. This ends here. Die! Die, cur!
Good people, you have just witnessed the impossible. Agronak Gro Malog has been defeated. I say again, the Grey Prince has been defeated. Behold, the new hero of the people of Cyrodiil. Behold, your arena grand champion, the Divine Avenger. Esteemed grand champion, you may leave the arena now. See the Blade Master to receive your winnings and be awarded your raiment of valor.
It is important to note, though, once Agronak finds out that he is half undead, he does not have the will to carry on anymore. Maybe he was not a villain, since he did not know about his vampiric charms. But the Grand Champion is the one to end all of that suffering. There you have it, my dear viewers, the story of the Grand Champion and all the sweet, delicious blood spilt to get his name. Oh, that's right, you already know that there's more than one. But there's many Grand Champions that exist out there that I follow around endlessly. In fact, I consider each and every one of you a Grand Champion now, in my eyes. And you know how hard it is to get rid of me, Grand Champion. I will follow you forever, and not even death will separate us. See you soon, Grand Champion.